Hello everyone, Tina here for LDRS Creative. I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for joining me. I am super excited to be here to share the brand new release for August 2019 with you. This release is super huge and super fun, and I know you guys are just going to love it. First, we're going to take a look at the release, and then we're going to make 5 projects with the brand new release. You can see how huge this is. So let's take a look, starting off with our 6x6 paper packs. This here is called the Christmas Cottage. It has 24 sheets of pattern papers, 2 of each pattern, so there's 12 different designs in total, but they are so pretty. Plaids and florals and stripes, perfect for your winter or Christmas themed cards. Just love the Christmas Cottage paper pack. There's one more new paper pack called Sweater Weather, and it has equally beautiful patterns in here. Great for fall and autumn themed cards. We're going to take a look. There's the same 24 sheets, 2 of each design in this paper pack. Plaids, so popular during fall, and I think this is a great paper pack for that. Some sentiment pattern papers here, polka dots, but I think it's going to be super fun to create with. Wood grain, I always love the wood grain. So these are your 2 brand new paper packs from the LDRS Creative Shop. Okay, there's 4 brand new border dies, and I'm so excited I get to share them with you. We're going to start off with our first border die called At the Cloud's Edge. I fell in love with the In a Cloudy Sky dies. I think they're dainty and beautiful, and this border die matches it perfectly. I love the stitch detail in here, and I love how the stitch detail goes above the cloud line. And then it's an open edge, so you can make it as tall as you want on your projects, which is great for seam building. So again, this is called At the Cloud's Edge. The next one here is called Up a Tree, and I die cut out everything for you guys. They're perfect for landscape or portrait style card making projects. And this one here, the cloud or the tree toppers are actually, you can separate. I chose to keep them together, but I'll show you what it looks like here. Forgive the coloring. I just wanted to show you the difference between the tree trunks and the tree toppers here. And again, the tree toppers I glued to the back side of the tree trunks, but if you wanted to add some dimension, you could put them on the front. But you have the hillside that attaches to the tree trunks. So great little scene building element there. Next up, we have the Down Main Street border die. This is so pretty, and I love the interactive element of this one. The awning and the door on one of the little townhouses open. I think that's so cute for a little added detail, and it's perfect for landscape or portrait style cards too. I think this would make a fantastic little Christmas village or little shopping mall. Here it is against my craft card stock. You can see the detail. Isn't that so fun? That's called Down Main Street. And then last but not least, there's the Over the Hills border die. And this cuts out 2 pieces. Cuts out the hillside, and then the very back hillside is cut out separately. So it's great for layering. So here's your main hillside, and then this is the extra piece that you could do some tucking with. Or you could add some foam tape for a little bit of added dimension. So those are your 4 new border dies. Now we're going to take a look at a few more brand new dies to the shop. We're going to set these aside. Next up, I want to show you a die called In the Breeze. Now at first I thought this was coffee steams, but this is the 4-piece die set, and it's made, you can separate it to add like a winter breeze kind of a detail to your projects. So pretty and versatile, and these just add stitch lines, which I really like. This here is called By the Light of the Moon. I believe in June's release, we got a sun that was so adorable. The moon is just the same, so sweet. This here is called it's a window die set called the Garden Gateway. It's a 2-piece set, and it cuts out this beautiful window in your panels. I cut it out here, and I did use both pieces. So this is what it looks like if you layer them both together. But if you remove the outer piece, it will fill in your background panel beautifully. There's also another larger window die set that is absolutely gorgeous. It's called Garden Wreath, and it's the same. It has 2-piece set, and This is what it looks like when it's die cut out for both pieces, but I think this would be great for all seasons. You could make a wreath for spring, summer, winter, or fall. It's just gorgeous. And when you have a beautiful die like this, you don't have to do much to your projects to mass produce them. Okay, next up we have two new frame sets. We have the Practically Square frame set. You know, on our last release we had the Practically Oval. This one's just as pretty. It's a 6-piece set. Each one of the squares are detailed differently, which makes it so fun. And then we also have the Scalloped Circle frame set, which is also a 6-piece set, and it has 2 little hearts in the center too. And each one of those circles are have different detail on them, which makes the layering great. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the stamp sets. My goodness, you're going to love these. Okay, this is the Hydrangea stamp set, and it's a larger 6x8 stamp set. Comes with a large happy sentiment, and then all the block smaller sentiments are for almost every occasion you can imagine. Happy anniversary, happy birthday, I'm so happy for you, sending happy mail. So great news is there's coordinating dies that will die cut out each of the elements in the Hydrangea stamp set. Also, if you want to have that option of picking up the coordinating dies, it's there. Okay, there is a fall or Halloween theme set called Pick of the Patch in this month's release, and it is fun because it's a layering stamp set. Each of the images have layers. You have the sunflower, the pumpkin. There's also a little critter that could be tucked behind your flowers or your pumpkin. And then there's also a acorn with some leaves. And they're all layering, which makes it, and they're basically 3-step layering, which makes it so easy. And then there's coordinating dies for the stamp set as well, along with a decorative frame that will fill your sentiments. So that's the Pick of the Patch. Okay, next up we have this beautiful stamp set with the coordinating dies. This is called A View for All Seasons. Oh, I love windows and I love frames, so this is I'm partial to. This has little elements that you can decorate your window with. It has the little kitty cat. It has pumpkins. It has a window box, ivy, Christmas branches. So you can decorate for all seasons with this stamp set, and I think that's great. Not to mention there's a pretty awning that goes on there, and then shutters. There's a new Halloween stamp set to the shop. This one's called Halloween Hijinks, and it is so cute. Perfect for, I'm a cutesy Halloween card making kind of a girl, so this tickled my fancy because I just love the images in here. Even that little pirate, it doesn't necessarily have to be for Halloween. You could use it for a little boy's birthday because there's sentiments in here that say you're a treasure, and there's a little treasure box too. And then of course the coordinating dies. But that's new to the shop too, and that's a 4x6 stamp set. Next up we have this cute little, this one is called Otterly Lovable, and it's adorable. It's a 4x6 stamp set also, and it has a cute little otter family in here with fun little sentiments along with those cute little coffee mugs. Oh my goodness. Each of the little otters have little hats you can add to them. And did you know the coordinating dies will die cut out the hats and the little coffee mugs too? So how about that? Okay, so that was the release. Now we're going to jump in and get creating on our first project. We are going to stamp and color in, and then using the coordinating dies, I'm going to die cut out a flower that's in the Hydrangea stamp set. I'm going to do both leaves and then the sentiment that says hello. I'm using my Raven ePad because it's alcohol marker friendly, and that's what I use to color in my images. Now the happy doesn't have a die that coordinates with it, but it was easy to fussy cut around. I'm just going to ink it up, and then off screen I did color in my images and then cut them out just to save a little bit of time. But this is such a pretty stamp set. You can see how gorgeous it is, and you would think a stamp like this would be hard to color, but it was so easy to color. I really enjoyed it. Okay, for my background on my card base, I'm going to use the Scallop Circle die set, the 2 largest. I'm going to layer together. Oh, I wanted to tell you, I store my dies on a magnetic sheet. The magnetic sheet does not come with the dies, guys. That was from my own stash, but I just wanted to let you guys know that. But there's my frame, and then for my card base, this is my card base that I'm going to use the In the Breeze die with. So I wanted to add stitch detail directly on my card base. So I ran them both through my die cut machine. So I have my frame, and then behind my frame you can see I already have my my little stitch detail. I'm not going to use it as like a breeze die. I wanted to use it more as a detail die. So I popped up my frame and placed that on my card base. Now all I'm going to do is add some foam squares behind my hydrangea here and kind of arrange my flower a little bit more towards the left, and then I'll pop up my happy and add that. And then I did stamp the word, the sentiment that says happy anniversary. I just trimmed that down with my paper trimmer. We'll place that right below the happy, and then that completes that card, guys. Now for card number 2, I have to use the paper, oh my gosh, it's so cute. Pick up the patch. I wanted to do some layering, and so I love the acorn in it. I love acorns. I think they're perfect for fall. And so for today's second card, I wanted to make a real elegant card. So I'm just going to use the acorn layering stamp here. Now I'm using my ink pad. I'm starting off with my first layer, and we are stamping with iced tea. Stamped it a few times to get a nice solid image. And then I'm going to go in with my second layer. Second layer, I'm using coffee bean ink. We're going to stamp that, and you can see how gorgeous this pine cone is. Or not pine cone, acorn. For my acorn third layer, I'm going to use Scarlet Rose. I wanted just to differentiate my acorns from the leaves, so I thought the red would go perfect. So I used the coordinating dies to cut these out, and then those are ready to go. Now I wanted to use my garden wreath for this card, so I'm going to die cut my wreath out with gold cardstock, and then also with fun foam, white fun foam, because I wanted to add a little bit of dimension behind my wreath. So I'll run all of these through my die cut machine, and then they're ready to go here. I'm going to stamp the sentiment from the same stamp set that we used with the acorn. It's so pretty. It says forever grateful for you, and again I used the coffee bean ink for that. And I kind of used my gold wreath as a guide, but I added glue behind my fun foam, added that to my card base, and then popped my wreath right on top, so my wreath has a little bit of dimension. I'm going to go ahead and add my acorns. And then these little pieces were the pieces that were left over from the wreath, and they're leaves, and I thought this would add a nice little added dimension too to my wreath too. So I just used glue and tucked them underneath the acorns. I'm going to add a little splash of sparkle with some gold glitter drops, and then that finishes off my second project. I think it creates a very elegant card. Okay, for my third project today, we're going to use the two smallest dies in the scallop circle die set. I die cut those out along with my Over the Hills border die. I used white cardstock for both of them, and then I did fussy cut out one of the little birdhouses in the Christmas Cottage pattern paper pack. I thought it was so pretty, and I wanted to make a just because winter card, so I'm gonna use my paper trimmer and trim down my hillside so it fits the same size as my snowflake pattern paper, which by the way was 4 inches by 5 1/4. I already adhered that to my card base. I go ahead and tuck my hill right behind my hillside, and then before we adhere that, we're going to stamp our sentiment. For this card, I chose Sending Happy Mail. I'm just going to use my Raven ink and stamp that in the lower left corner here. And then after we have that stamped, I did add foam tape behind my scallop circle frame, and I'm going to add it behind my hillside here too. Tape that in the bottom for a little bit of dimension, and then we'll go ahead and tape down our center circle right in the center of our card, and then we'll add our frame, making sure it's centered. And then we'll pop up our birdhouse. So this is just using the pattern paper. I think it was such a pretty paper pack, and I love the birdhouse. So it's a pretty simple card using just the pattern paper. Now I wanted to add some sparkle, so I'm going to use my glue and go over the top of the birdhouse and the top of my heels, and then we're going to add some clear glitter to it. We'll just shake off the excess, and then we have a simple sending Happy Mail card, but it looks like you spend a lot of time on it. I love that paper pack. Okay, for my next card, we're already jumping in. I have to use Down Main Street border die, and I have to use this cloud border die. I'm cutting out 2 of the cloud bordered, the cloudy, at the cloud's edge border dies, I'm sorry, and then 1 of the Main Street border dies. My background, I used some of the pattern paper from the Christmas cottage. I went ahead and popped up my first at the cloud's edge border on the very top of my card base. And then behind my Down Main Street scene here, I'm going to add some gold glitter cardstock. And then I'll pop it up and place that on my card base. Along with, you can see I already stamped my sentiment that says Happy Holidays. The Happy Holidays is actually from the Hydrangea stamp set. It has all occasions, even Happy Easter in that. So nice and versatile stamp set. I went ahead and flipped over my At the Cloud's Edge die and placed it on the bottom of my panel like it's a little snowbank. Then I added some black and white baker's twine, and that finishes off that card. I think it creates a fun little Christmas scene. Okay, for my final card today, we're going to make a cutesy little Halloween card. And so we're going to stamp and color in and die cut out our images here. I did it all at once, sorry guys, just to save a little bit of time. So I have the mummy and the moon, the little spider, and then the little kitty cat. There's also a little sentiment in there that says eek. So I stamped that and die cut that out too. Now I wanted to use, my gosh, this cute little up a tree border die. I'm going to cut it out using pattern paper from the Sweater Weather paper pack. And then I did die cut out a frame using one of the practically square frame dies. Now, for me, the easiest way to color in my tree trunk was just using a Copic marker. I just needed 3 of them colored in, and it worked out perfectly because I have my green heel, and then I also have the green tree choppers that were using the same pattern paper. I did want to add a little bit of shading, so I used a darker Copic marker just to add a little detail to my tree toppers. And then I did trim down my up a tree border just so it fit on the inside of my square panel here. Now I wanted to add a little color to my panel, so I'm going to mask off just the scalloped edge. There's stitch detail on there, so I went right up to the stitch detail, and then I'm going to color in the background with my LDRS Creative Hybrid inks. Starting off with the alloy, I'm going to just use my finger dauber and add a little bit of gray to our background. I wanted to kind of create a soft night sky, so I thought alloy would work perfectly for that. After I'm happy with it, I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom because we're going to cover that up with our up a tree border there. Okay, now for my moon, to give it a little halo, I'm going to use my Dandelion ink. I'm just going to add a little bit of shading so it looks like my moon's glowing. I think that looks wonderful. Okay. Now you can see when I remove my Post-it note tape, I have a white border all around, and I just love that effect. In fact, when I trimmed down my up a tree border, I made sure I was inside of my scalloped line. Okay, now I already had popped up my up a tree border and then also my moon, placed that on my panel, and then now we're going to stamp our sentiment. I chose the one that says, "You are just too cute to spook." I'm stamping that with my Raven ink right below my my panel here. And I love the little spider in this little stamp set, so I want to stamp that a few times directly on my card base. I decided to go once hanging from the sentiment towards the end, and then once on the top left. And then I did just color it in with a couple of my Copic markers. I'm going to flip over my panel, add some foam tape behind here. Place that right above the sentiment so we have a little added dimension, and then we're going to add some foam tape behind each one of our little elements, including our little mummy, which is so cute. His hands held out, so I thought it'd be cute if he was holding the spider. And then I'm going to add the word eek, and then also my little kitty cat that is sitting on top of the pumpkin there. I think that looks adorable. Okay, now we're going to add a little sparkle using our shimmer pen. I'm going to go over my little mummy and the moon, the little pumpkin for a little added sparkle. And that finishes off that card, guys. So here's a look at all 5 cards that I made today with the August 2019 release from LDRS Creative. I hope this gives you some ideas on how to use some of the brand new products. If you're interested in them, please check out the link down below to the LDRS Creative shop. You're going to love the new release this month. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. I wish you a fantastic day, and we will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.